Welcome back to another TNT Podcast where we will be attempting to try and convince a very close-minded person that there are things in this world that we cannot explain. Today, in this episode, I'll be trying to convince my dad that the ghost lights are real. So, then you're not going to be using your usual cop-out of, Einstein said this, Einstein said that. That's not a thing. We're not doing that.
So now you're smarter than Albert Einstein?
I didn't say I was smarter than him.
Oh, okay.
From according to you, I think I might be. If he says half the stuff you said he says.
All he says is what some stuff you say is a bunch of malarkey.
Today we're going to be discussing ghost lights. I'm going to be taking a very different approach in this episode. I'm going to have my dad explain what these mystery lights truly are and if they aren't paranormal. So, let's see if you can come up with some explanations that make sense.
All my explanations make sense. Yours are ones that don't make sense. Monsters and ghosts. There's a logical explanation for everything. You know who said that?
Who?
Not Einstein. My dad did. Let me tell you about the ghost that when I was 12, my dad built a new house and we moved in it and had a ghost in it. Have I ever told you this story?
No.
You'd be in the other room and you'd hear something go bang, 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 like that. And you go looking all through the house and you couldn't find anything.
Okay.
And then Dad started even thinking we had a ghost. And then one day, in my bathroom, had this real thick cushion seat, and when you sat down on it, it would mash flat. When you raised it up, it would start expanding, and after about 10 minutes after you've been to the bathroom, somebody used the bathroom, it would fall and go bam. He happened to be in there one day in the bathroom when it fell, and that's how we figured out it wasn't a ghost. So you see, there's a logical explanation for everything.
But are you sure it wasn't the ghost making the toilet do that?
I'm pretty sure it was a butt making it get flat.
You never really know with these things.
Huh?
You never really know with these things.
Yeah, okay.
The first ghost light I'm going to discuss is the Gurdon Light, which is in Gurdon, Arkansas. Reports of this mysterious light goes back to the 1930s, and it always appears on the same abandoned rail line.
Well, after driving trains 20 years, I can assure you if anything weird's going to happen, it's going to happen on the railroad.
The legend of the light states that in 1931, a Section 4 man named William McLean, who oversaw a track maintenance crew, was killed by an employee he had just fired. According to the legend, the employee struck him in the head with a spike maul and cut it off with a shovel. While his body was found near the tracks the following morning, his head was never located. It was shortly after this death that the lights first appeared. People today claim it is the ghost of Mr. McLean searching for his lost head.
Now, wait a minute. Now, if he acted like some of them supervisors we had on the railroad, I can see why somebody would kill him. I mean, I had this one particular boss. He got me mixed up with a guy He caught. He caught a guy asleep on the train, and then after that, he thought it was me because me and this guy were built sort of like. And he was so obnoxious, somebody told me he died. And I said, thank goodness, he won't be missed. Good riddance.
You projecting?
What?
Are you projecting right now?
Projecting?
Yeah, you projecting?
No, I ain't got a projector.
Okay.
I don't even know what that means.
It's not important.
Oh.
Now, before you start saying this is all made up for a good story, let me tell you what I found online. There was a man named William McLean who was killed on December 4th, 1931 in Gurdon, Arkansas. He has a find-a-grave memorial that lists him as 63 years old, but his death certificate, which states he was murdered, says he was 56-year-old railroad section foreman. Mr. McLean rests today in the city cemetery, Bryan, Arkansas. One of his sons died as recently as 2012 at the age of 99 years old.
So was he 56 or 63? Come on, man.
The railroad.
I mean, that really narrows it down. But I got what you're saying. This was a real person that was really murdered.
Yeah.
Okay. Even though we don't know how old he is.
It's in the air.
Okay.
According to what I could learn about the murder, it consists of an argument between William and one of his employees named Lewis McBride. It was during the Great Depression, and Lewis wanted more work hours, but the railroad refused. After their shift was over that night, Lewis killed William McLean with a shovel and a maul.
I'm calling bull. I can assure you, railroad men never want more work time. We had to play sick to get off work. If anything, he probably wanted to take off and go to his kid's graduation or get married or something. He wouldn't let him off, so he killed him.
But if it's during the Great Depression.
If it was like the railroad was when I was out there, they didn't have enough people. They wouldn't hire enough people to get the work done, so you couldn't get off.
Lewis and Louis McBride admitted to the murder and was sentenced to death. Despite appeals, he was executed in the electric chair on July 8th, 1932.
Hey,
Now
that solved both his problems at once, didn't it? He didn't need more work time, and he didn't kill nobody else. That's the perfect solution.
Anyways, now the light appears to be different colors at different times. It can either appear blue, green, white, even orange. It always bobs back and forth like someone carrying a lantern. It can appear in front of you, and just before you get to it, it then appears behind you.
Yep. It's called lightning bugs. They fly around, their tail don't light up all the time. So they turn it off and go behind you, and it comes back on, and you're like, whoa, that light went out, come on behind me. I've been watching them since I was a kid. They're not like Rudolph, though. It's the other end that lights up, which I don't know which is worse. I mean, it'd be okay if you had a tail that lighted up, if you had a backup camera back there.
Now, scientists have several theories as to what this light could be, but none of them really fit what is actually being seen. One theory is that it could be swamp gas, but in order for swamp gas to be seen, there must be an ignition source, and the light doesn't just bob around like the light. Another theory is that the light is from an interstate that are being seen, like cars, But the problem with that is the nearest interstate is 2 miles away and wasn't built until 1950s. And my last theory is that there is quartz in the ground in that area that could somehow, because of pressure, throw light out of the ground. But this sounds more impossible than a ghost story.
You should have read Einstein's book.
Oh my god.
I mean, have you ever heard of an acoustic shadow?
No.
No. See? You should have read Einstein's book.
What's an acoustic shadow?
Okay, let me give you an example. Like during the Civil War, during the Battle of Shiloh, they had 60-something artillery pieces firing. You know how loud that is? One artillery piece is very loud. Imagine 60 of them. 50 miles away in Florence, Alabama, people sat on their porch and listened to the battle. 50 miles away. Now, at two other battles, Iuka and Gettysburg, they had these cannons firing the same way, yet troops a mile away were told not to attack until they heard the cannons. They never heard them because of an acoustic shadow. It went over them. So don't you think light could probably be the same way, could be projected from somewhere else?
That was the worst theory I ever heard in my entire life.
I mean, Einstein probably would have said
I don't care what Einstein would say. Einstein must suck at making theories if that's what Einstein would say.
Okay.
So, here's some pictures of the Gordon lights, and I'll tell me what this could be. Come on, tell me right now.
That's easy. They're orbs.
Orbs are supernatural.
Orbs are not ghosts. Einstein said
it's not light.
That orbs.
It's not bugs.
No, not bugs. Orbs are not bugs. Orbs is when you've got to look at this. Look at the camera. You can tell there's a flash on. You see that guy standing there? The flash is lighting up his neck and the side of his head. So it's what an orb is when you flash a camera at night, or sometimes during the day, it picks up dust particles in the air, and that's the reflection.
But there's not dust particles at a railroad track. That's crazy.
That's all that's around there is dust. The engines are dirty. The trains are dirty. Everything's dirty. You get on the engine, dust everywhere.
Okay, but the next ghost light we'll be discussing is the Silver Cliff Cemetery lights in Silver Cliff, Colorado. You can imagine where it got the name. The light is different from the one in Arkansas. They're always bluish white, the size of a golf ball, and appears in groups.
Like lightning bugs. Maybe they got a different breed of lightning bug out there that's a different color than ours. Reckon?
The first case of these lights was reported by miners in the 1880s. They didn't become popular until being spotted by a couple of teenagers and their dates while driving past a cemetery at night in 1956. What they were doing with their dates in a cemetery at night, I don't know. I can't tell you. Everyone thought it was just a prank to scare their girlfriends into sitting a little closer to them in the car.
Now you got it.
But
Now, you know, that wouldn't have been a
You-
bad idea. If I could have got a girl to sit close to me on a date, I'd have got a ghost conjured up, too. Oh, by the way, that reminds me, one time I was on a double date with
Here
a
we
friend of
go.
mine in school. Huh?
yeah, no, I'm thinking it's just your story time.
And no, and we're on our way to the movie theater, and there's a girl in the back seat with me, so she's sitting all the way against the door over there. It's like an old car, it's big, so she's like a mile away. And she's like, acts like she's scared of me or something, like I might bite.
Maybe she was.
And then this old man ran a stop sign and hit us in the front left fender and made us wreck. And after that, when we left and went to the movies, we could still drive the car because it was one of them old army tank cars. We left. She was up my butt the rest of the night. Made me want to get in a wreck every time we went on a date after that.
What is the moral of this story? What does this have to do with anything?
You brought it up.
I didn't bring
How
anything
to
up.
get a date closer to you in the car.
What? Okay, you know what?
Ghosts make dates get closer to you. Wrecks do too.
In 1969, the lights made national news as an article was written about the lights in National Geographic magazine. Now, the theory to explain these lights is that when it's completely dark outside, sorry, my dog just slung a dog toy at my dad.
Thought you threw that at me.
I am pretty mad. I feel like I should. So when it's like completely dark outside, your mind is just playing tricks on you, and you just think you're seeing lights when you're not.
Yeah.
But this doesn't really explain why people see these lights flickering through cemeteries. One theory was that the lights are the result of lights from towns reflecting on the tombstones, yet they were seen before the town had electricity. So explain that one.
That is a good point
And-
because, you know, lightning bugs, before they had electricity, how did lightning bugs recharge their butts? To light up. Have you thought about that?
Guess I haven't. What did Einstein say about it?
I skipped that chapter.
Let me just say, I want to just get this out of the way and just go ahead and say that lightning bugs using electricity to light their butts kind of proves my point that there really is other sciences that we don't know about.
Why is that?
Because they're using electricity.
They don't use electricity, you dork.
But those eels do.
What?
Those eels do. Like the eels that are...
Do you know how they do it?
Like the eels that make up the Loch Ness Monster.
Yeah, because God made them with these alternators in them to create electricity. They rub their cells together real fast and it's like static. They'll shock you. But anyway.
Who's to say that these lights aren't electricity ghosts that rub their cells together? I'm sorry.
Go ahead with you.
No, I'm going ahead. People who live there have stated that you don't see them every night. A recent investigation showed that the lights first appeared about 9 p.m. and there were only 3 to 4. And as the night went on, they became very numerous and could be seen floating and darting across the cemetery. Some could be observed landing on the tombstones and on the grass. So they're like a physical thing.
Oh,
they're not lights.
Why didn't that start a prairie fire?
Because they're not actual lights. They're not electricity. They're ghosts.
Don't even make common
Why do
sense.
they only appear where people die?
Nobody died there. They just buried there. They died somewhere else. How many people you know dies in a cemetery?
Convenient reasons.
They say where somebody dies is what's haunted, not where they're laying.
Well, you never know. Ghosts change sciences. As the night went on, the lights began to grow in size. Some were as large as baseballs, and some were just like not as large as baseballs. At that point, a larger light appeared at the edge of the cemetery that was orange in color. It's about the size of a basketball. When the team attempted to approach the light, it grew really dim, and when they retreated, it returned to its original size. So it's like it was toying with them. It wasn't like a light actually would if you approached it. The ghost lights in the cemetery seemed to be interacting with the big light. How do you explain that?
Well,
Of course you have an explanation.
yeah, I do. It's like lightning bugs, you know, the ant colony, when the queen shows up, she's bigger than the rest of them, and they do what she says. So, of course, they're doing what the big lightning bug queen says. They're interacting with her.
So you admit it's a living thing?
Yeah, lightning bug is a living thing. It's an insect. It's not a ghost.
Now the investigation got even stranger as the small lights began attracted to one of the investigators, following him around. It followed the person around the cemetery, but if any of the other people attempted to approach it, it would move away, like the lights would leave. And near midnight, the lights became so close to the investigators that they would reach out and touch them, but they couldn't feel anything, just air.
You know, they were probably attracted to that guy because of the cologne he had on. You reckon he had the flavor, the scent of firefly and heat?
You think maybe when they reached out to reach for the firefly and didn't feel anything, that maybe it wasn't a firefly?
Yeah, because at night you can't judge distance. So when they think they're reaching for it, it may be 20 yards away and they think they're touching it, but they're not touching it.
Here's a photograph. Here's a photograph of one person took from Silver Hill Cemetery lights.
More orbs from dust particles. See, you can see the flash right there again on the camera.
You can't say they're just fireflies.
Einstein was right again.
Look at them. They're too large. The lights. Okay, you can't even say the light. The light is being transported across a long distance. It's just. It's not a light.
Yeah, it's not light. It's dust particles.
You cannot come up with an explanation besides fireflies. That's not even a real explanation.
No, it's dust particles.
It's not dust particles. Why was it following that guy? Don't you dare say he stinks. That's not the answer.
He stinks. I hadn't thought about that. That's a good point.
It's discussion time.
Okay.
Now let me just get this out of the way.
Okay.
I know you're on fire today. You seem to be you're really grating to me today.
Really what?
You're really getting to me today.
Oh. Maybe you're just having a bad day.
I was having a bad day. And then I decided, maybe I'll get my best episode yet. This was my magnus opus. I was like, this is going to be the one. He's going to believe this one. He's going to give me a perfect 10. We get in here, and instead, you quote Einstein.
Well, it'd be... At least I'm not quoting the Three Stooges. I mean,
I'm not
quoting.
I worked really hard on this. I worked really hard.
Yeah. So do washing machines, but people don't sit around bragging on them.
Maybe they should. Maybe they should.
Okay, let me explain something to you.
I can't wait.
I can tell you how I know the Garden Light is not paranormal.
Go ahead.
Okay, it's really simple.
I'm sure it is.
As an ex-railroad employee, I drove trains for 20 years.
Yep.
I can assure you, when we die, the last place you're going to see us is on the railroad. If we come back as a ghost, I've been off the railroad since 2009. I don't even like getting stopped by trains now. But if I come back as a ghost, anybody on the railroad comes back as a ghost, they're going to be at home watching a football game. Or they're going, like some of them bozos I work with, they're going to be out there playing golf. Pastor Pooh. The most boring thing you can do is to stick the ball. Try to knock it a little bit of hole in the middle of a gopher hole in the middle of a field. But anyway, that's what they do. And the last thing he's going to do is run around the railroad waving his lantern trying to scare somebody.
He's looking for his head.
Well, that's been 90 years ago and he still hasn't found it. So maybe it's time to go watch a ball game.
Okay, here's the thing that I gotta say. What if you came back as a ghost, right?
Uh-huh.
You wouldn't stay where you died? What if that's where your soul's stuck? What if you can't leave where you died?
I'm going to be mad.
Or where your body
I'm on the railroad, I'm going to be mad.
If you come back as a ghost, can you at least, give me a sign so I know I'm right? And that you can just, you hate yourself for all eternity because you know you're wrong and I'm right?
Yeah, I'll tell you what I'll do. If I come back as a ghost...
Yeah?
Every 5 minutes, I'm going to flick your ear.
I really hate you.
That way
you know I believe in ghosts. That's a genuine threat.
Every time your ear goes, pow, feels like it's on fire, you'll know it's me letting you know.
That's a genuine threat, man. Yeah, I think ghosts are real. That's a threat. So you don't believe in ghosts? You don't believe in
I've never seen one.
On a scale of 1 to 10.
Have you seen one?
You don't know.
No. But you didn't answer the question, so I'm pretty sure I know.
What about that time we went to the Sorrel Weed House, which we might do an episode on sometime, and I got touched by something?
Yeah, in the head. Touched in the head.
All right, on a scale of 1 to 10,
Imagination.
what do you give the Garden Lights?
I'm going to be nice to you tonight, and I'm going to give you the Garden Lights a 3 because I've seen it. I've seen it on TV. I don't know what it
It
is.
doesn't count as seeing it.
Huh?
It doesn't count as seeing it if you just
I've
watch
seen it on
TV.
on TV. Flicker. It's not a firefly.
You admit it.
Yeah, I think it's something. I think it's got a logistical explanation to it, though. It's like you said, it could be quartz in the ground. I don't know what quartz lights look like. Do you?
It's probably not that.
I didn't read that in Einstein's book. He didn't talk about quartz lights.
Maybe he didn't know. So you meant he didn't know something?
He didn't talk about it. He knew, but he just didn't want me to know, I guess. He didn't put it in the book.
Oh, did he write the book for you?
Yeah.
Guys, I think we should end this episode here.
But the Silver Hill lights,
Oh, yeah, those ones.
those pictures look like dust particles to me.
That doesn't look like dust particles. Those are lights.
I'm not impressed with that one. I give that one a 1, but I give the Garden Lights. I tell you what, I give the Garden Lights a 4 because I don't know what it is, and I don't think it's a ghost, paranormal. But I'll
Again,
say it's weird.
Again, I'm getting a whole lot of 4s recently.
Yeah, you got a 4 and a 1. Average them together, and what you got?
Like a 2.
2.5. But anyway, now you got me thinking about how to get a girl close to me in a car.
You're married.
Well, maybe I want to get my wife close to me in the car.
She doesn't do that?
No, we've been married for about 15 years. She's tired of sitting by me.
I am too.
Yeah, you'll see
No, trust me.
when you get married.
Oh, I already see. I'm sitting next to you right now.
Anyway, you said this was going to be a 12-minute podcast, and it's 22 minutes.
Because
you cut it off.
You kept rambling.
Rambling?
About nothing. About Einstein.
You're the one who brought up Einstein.
I didn't bring up Einstein.
You brought him up at first. You said, well, he blames everything on Einstein.
That was to get you to not bring up Einstein. I brought up Einstein first to make sure you don't bring Einstein up
if
second.
you don't want Einstein in it, don't bring him up.
You bring him up first every time.
I didn't this time.
We're not playing this game. We're not playing this game.
Okay.
I think things are getting a little too heated. Might need to go relax and calm down. Maybe next episode we'll both be in better moods, and maybe you won't mention Einstein.
I'm in a great mood. I'm enjoying myself.
I'm sure,
TNT out.
I'm sure you are.